Meet the 2028 NBA All-Stars. Now, we reacted to an article from this exact guy over at The Ringer where in 2018, he was trying to predict 2023. There were some hits, there were some misses, and now they're trying to do the same thing for 2028. Will they be better this time around? Only time will tell. If you see articles of people trying to predict the future of the NBA, please send them my way because they are so very fun. Because it is impossible to know, obviously. Because that's, if it was possible, we wouldn't watch the sport. But like, this is what we're here for. So, Kenny Beecham, L Reader is here to read again to y'all. In February 2018, my colleague Dan Shah embarked on a, oh yeah, this writer. Shout out to Zach Cram. He definitely be dropping these words that you gotta search on Google.
Quixotic.
Quixotic, exceedingly idealistic, unrealistic, and impractical. Quixotic.
Quixotic.
Quixotic. Legit a word that I can add to my vocabulary. So if you see a video in the future where I'm using quixotic, you know we got this from Zach Cram. Also, one of the top comments on that video that made me feel good is from our guy Andrew, who said, Kenny, you say you're an L reader, but that's not true. I got to give you massive credit. When you don't know a word, you admit it and you immediately look it up. That is a W reader, and that makes me feel good, man. Somebody with dyslexia, it's super important for me to learn new words and hear the pronunciation of the words for me to understand. It's hard to explain, but whatever. I'm not even a sentence into the article, and okay, anyway. So they look back in their 2018, they say 10 of our 24 picks were accurate and many more were close injury-related misses. So yeah, I think that's what we came to the conclusion of, where like they had people like Karl-Anthony Towns, they had some people that missed it because of injury replacement and stuff like that. So I don't think it was a bad list by them. You know, they gave good rationale to why they picked the certain pieces. There are some extreme misses, but again, you're trying to predict if a 19-year-old is going to be an all-star 5 seasons. It's hard to do. It's hard to blame Danny for his many oversights. 5 years ago, Tyrese Halliburton was a 3-star commit at Iowa State. Ja Morant was a freshman at Murray State after not being ranked as a recruit. Bam Adebayo and Domantas Sabonis were both late lottery picks who mostly came off the bench. There's no feasible way to predict that any of them would have been all-stars in 5 years. So some of the people in my last videos like, oh my God, he didn't mention Ja Morant. This is a good reason. I did not even realize that Ja Morant wasn't even ranked. I mean, it makes sense. He ended up at Murray State. I mean, if you have ranking, you probably, at least at that time, were ended up at Murray State. I don't know what they up to nowadays. Here are the rules. First, only 35% of all-stars this century were also all-stars exactly 5 years earlier. So fewer than half of our selections that come from the 2023 roster. Secondly, I'm going to abide by the average age distribution of all-stars this century, which means that the 2028 All-Star Game will feature 6 players who are currently in their teams. Now, this is part of last article that I misread and misinterpreted. I'm not going to do that again. So we're saying as in 2023, 6 of the people that he thinks that will be an All-Star in 2028 are in their teenage years right now. 12 of the players, at least half of the selection, are between the age of 20 and 24. 5 of them are 25 to 29, and just 1 of them are 30 plus. And I'm trying to figure out 30 plus. So I think there's a decent amount of 30, 31, 32-year-olds in current NBA that could still be kicking it and doing their thing in 2028. I think the longevity of NBA careers are going to be a lot better now than they were back 10 years ago, 15 years ago. People care more about their bodies. You got load management, and we got different styles of basketball where you don't need to just be banging bodies with grown men 82 times a year. And finally, I'm going to ignore any team, conference, or position affiliation because you understand that. So here are the team people. Cameron Boozer, who's a name I know. Now, I'm a guy that don't watch college basketball. I definitely don't keep up with high school basketball. I'm trying to get better at it, but it is difficult for me. I know Cameron Boozer to be one of Carlos Boozer's sons, and he's going to be 20 years old in 2028. So they're predicting that Cameron Boozer is actually like that, saying that at the age of 20, he will be an all-star. Again, I know the name, but I've never seen a single second of him. He's the #1 recruit in 2025. See, yeah, I'm so out of the loop. I ain't know he was like that. It's so hard to see these type of videos because it feels like no defense is being played, where it's like a circuit, an AAU circuit or something like that. It's just like all about the star players and stuff. So it's hard for me to watch AAU footage and just like look at it and say, oh, this guy's real tough. Because everybody has a hoop mixtape. I'm not saying that Cam Boozer is not tough because he's the #1 ranked player in his class, but it's hard for me to look at this and be like, oh yeah, at the age of 20. Again, at the age of 20, who was the youngest all-star this year? I'm not about to do this math. We had some young dudes, of course, but none of them were the age of 20. So he thinks that Cam is going to come in and be a dog. We got Scoot Henderson, Bronny James. Okay, Bronny. I know a lot of people dislike Bronny James mostly because he's LeBron's son, and maybe you believe that he's not as good as the hype around him just because he's LeBron James' son. Again, I don't know much about Bronny. I've never actually watched him play basketball. So I don't have an opinion about what Bronny could be in the NBA or if he even is an NBA talent. They believe that he's not only an NBA talent, but he's going to be one of the top young players in all of basketball. He's going to make the NBA All-Star game in 2028. Dyson Daniels, Shaedon Sharpe, and Victor Wembanyama. Okay, so I'm looking at all of the people that are in their teenage years in the NBA. So he believes that Jabari Smith Jr. won't hit that. He believes, who else? Who else is a top-end talent? And Jeremy Sochan. That's it. That's pretty much it. It's not a lot of 19-year-olds in basketball right now, but he does believe that Shaedon Sharpe and Dyson Daniels will be there, which are both interesting picks because it's not like they were the top picks of the drafts. Picks number 7 and 8, respectively. Shaedon Sharpe definitely has a ton of potential. Like, anytime I watch him hoop, I'm like, yeah, he could be a star in this league. And Dyson Daniels adds a nice little element of playmaking and defense, and I really love his feel for the game. And so I'm kind of digging some of these picks so far. Okay, so this actually makes sense. Only 14 players this season are in the teens, and all 14 rate as below average players as rookies. Looking at some advanced statistics, at least there are 2 generational prospects in the 2023 draft. They're talking about Vic, of course, and they're talking about Scoot Henderson. Next is Boozer, the son of 2-time All-Star Carlos, and the youngest pick here. He won't graduate high school until 2025, yet making an All-Star team at the age of 20 has precedent, especially recently. Out of the 11 NBA players in the NBA history to make an All-Star team at the age or younger, see, there's the L Reader coming in. 3 of those come in the 2020s. LaMelo in sophomore season, Zion and Luka Doncic. Oh yeah, I guess this year didn't have any teen All-Stars or like super duper young All-Stars, but in recent history we have it. They're saying that they didn't just pick him because he was the #1 player in his class, because from 2016 to 2019, the #1 recruits were Harry Giles, Marvin Bagley, RJ Barrett, and James Wiseman at this point. That's not very good. Only Barrett seems to have a remote chance of making an All-Star game. And that's in the future. That didn't even happen yet. The rationalization behind this isn't too terrible. If I had to pick a non-5-star prospect to try to fit the historical pattern, I could do worse than banking on a player like Bronny's pedigree and popularity. It makes a lot of sense. He talks about the 6'8" point guard and good vision and impressive defensive chops. The same thing I basically said. Sharpe went 1 pick before Dyson Daniels in the 2022 draft, and the Trailblazers rookie remains remarkably raw. All right, so here's the next selection of 20 to 24-year-olds. Paolo Banchero, Josh Giddey, LaMelo Ball, Anthony Edwards, Evan Mobley, Franz Wagner, Tyrese Halliburton, Luka Doncic, Darius Garland, John Moran, Desmond Bane, and Jason. Jason Tatum still being in this is crazy because I feel like Tatum has been in the league for 100 seasons, bro. He's still so young. We're like, he's still considered in the young. I cannot, my brain cannot wrap around this. What the heck? And strictly based on this, the one thing that I'm noticing is there is no Jalen Green. I'm seeing a lot of people that were top 1 through 4 in their respective draft classes. I mean, Paolo was here. Oh, actually, looking at this draft class, he didn't have Che, he didn't have Jabari, he didn't have Keegan Murray, he didn't have Jaden Ivey. He basically only took Paolo Banchero from this class. Oh, that's not true because Sharpe and Dyson Daniels were in the other thing above us. So, okay. But looking at the year before that, no Cade Cunningham, no Jalen Green, no Scotty Barnes. That actually is extremely surprising to me. Now that I'm thinking about who was in the previous draft classes, that is extremely surprising. And bigger than all of that, no Patrick Williams. No, let me stop. Wow. That's actually a surprise. I'm gonna be honest with you. No Zion Williamson. Bro, it keeps getting deeper and deeper in my brain. I'm just looking at the draft classes and be like, oh, who's really good from this draft class? No Zion? Oh man, I mean, he probably gonna talk about it, but he's probably saying that he won't be healthy. I don't know. No Trae Young, no Shea. Let me read. He gotta get rationalization. That's too many. Now, of course, he had a select amount of spots, but he picked Desmond Bane over a guy like Shea, Shea's already there, and he's averaging 30 this season. So I need to hit a rationalization. Okay, selecting the players in this group made the team choice seems easy. This is the last bucket I finalized. Heck, As I write this sentence, I might go back and flip a few final picks. And he did do that. And I guess we'll never know what he took out, what he added in. Players in this age range are in a sweet spot when they begun to show they belong in all-star conversations, even if they still don't have much potential to improve. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if Jalen Green averages 30 points per game in 2028, or Cade Cunningham leads the league in assists, or Nicholas Claxton won Defensive Player of the Year. Okay, so those are some names. So many noteworthy candidates in his range with so many feasible, spectacular development paths that my 12 backup options could include as many all-stars as dozens that I selected. At least he's understanding that like there is so much. And now he's got a tough job. If you ask me to narrow this list plus the people I say the snubs out, I couldn't do it. The easiest picks were Doncic, Tatum, and Morant, who are already all-star staples as three of the best players in the league. But picking every young 2023 all-star wouldn't be the right strategy to forecast the 2028 honorees. Two youngest all-stars in 2018 were Kristaps Porzingis and Karl-Anthony Towns, both 22 at the time, neither of whom made the team this year. Ditto to Bradley Beal, Anthony Davis, Andre Drummond, which is crazy. I forgot about that. And 24-year-old all-star in 2018. Overall, 42% of all-stars in the range of 20 to 24 this century weren't all-stars 5 years ago. Narrowing it down the long list of candidates, seriously, my preliminary player pool, that's preliminary player pool, for this project included more than 150 names. Half of them were in this range. I was forced to pick the tiniest nits. I think that's where it is. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a revelation. As a defensive ace, averaged at 31 points per game, but will his production stay at the level into the late 20s without the kind of three-point ability the other guards? I don't like that reasoning to not having him. He's still gonna be nice. Zion should be an all-star every year he's healthy for the next decade, but it's impossible to forecast his health 5 weeks from now, let alone 5 years. That's a rational reason. I ain't mad at it. He also mentioned Trey Murphy, Keegan Murray, Trae Young, Tyrese Maxey, Tyler Hero, Anthony Simons, and Jordan Poole, and Walker Kessler, Jared Allen, and DeAndre Ayton. So the 25 to 29-year-olds consist of Bam Adebayo, Devin Booker, Nikola Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid. All 5 of those feel pretty good. You're probably looking at me like, Kenny, he's forgetting about this dude, and I don't feel like doing the what about this guy again, so we just gonna move. Okay, so he did a little bit of it for us, as he mentions De'Aaron Fox, Jamal Murray, Jaylen Brown, Donovan Mitchell, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby. Okay. And then the sown 30-year-old is Steph Curry. And Steph Curry's going to be 39 at the time. All right, fine. This is the hardest selection of all. Damian Lillard has been an all-star in his last 5 healthy seasons. Steph Curry's been an all-star in his last 9 healthy seasons. James Harden, Kevin Durant, LeBron James. Imagine LeBron James. History says I have to. And in 24 seasons this century, only 28 players have been an all-star at the 35 or older, and they're not including Dirk and Dwayne Wade, who are honorary picks. Since 2016, only LeBron and Chris Paul fit this criteria. Shout out to Chris Paul. Granted, Father Time hasn't conquered LeBron yet. I seriously consider picking the NBA's new all-time leading scorer here, but ultimately I was forced to conclude that even he will show his age at some point over the next half-decade. In 2028, LeBron will be 43 years old, the oldest all-star in NBA history. Was the man LeBron passed, and he was 41. And I wouldn't be, if LeBron is in the league, then he's going to be an all-star strictly based on fan voting. Fan voting alone. I'll be voting for him still if he's still in the league, so be it. Let me know who the biggest snubs is. Again, I think they gave us good rationalization. There were some picks that I don't like. There's some picks I really do. And only time will tell if they are right or not right.